Hello and welcome to the Photography Live Show. So I'm your host Zulf, and today we've got a nice session for you where we're going to be looking at some photography updates and working our way through our segments of the show. So we can have a quick look into the future of photography. We've got the Edit My Raw special because this is the main reason of this show. We basically look at your submissions and see what you can do, prove your skills to us, and what you can make happen with dull photos that I supply you. But I think let's have a quick look at this message before we continue. This show has been made possible by NetAct Storage Solutions. Who are NetAct Storage Solutions, you ask me? Well, they offer over here memory cards and storage devices. So if you've got a camera, you want a reliable memory card. There's been various YouTube reviews and checks of the speeds of these, and they promise to deliver what they say on the card. So make sure to check the link in the description to pick up your card today, and let's get on with the show. Yes, so that will be that. Now, how about the recent news? So in the world of photography, you will know everybody likes to take photos, whether you've got the latest and greatest DSLR camera or you're shooting on your mobile phone. Here I saw the amateur photographer article, which is actually really interesting. So the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra camera review, and that's a camera a phone priced at nearly £1,300, £1,200, 30, well, depending on which one you get, isn't it? So 128 gigabytes is just over under £1,200, and the £1,400 one is a 512 gigabyte version. Android smartphone. At a glance, it's a phone. Depends what people do now. So the phones become your portable device. You take your photos on it, you take your videos on it, you listen to podcasts on it. So do you want to spend that kind of money on a phone for the camera, or would you prefer to buy a DSLR camera to go along with your mobile phone? So that's your two options. I think it's interesting because they've got loads of pictures here, so I'm impressed for what it is, but you'll notice it's in a nice lit environment. And yes, so I'll link you to this article, have a look at it. It's from Amateur Photographer, and that's something interesting I saw. I thought I'll cover with you. Panasonic Lumix have introduced a new sync tool. So staying on the mobile phone theme, if you're using mobile phones and you don't have a laptop or a desktop computer, how do you get your camera photos onto your mobile device? Which is something to think about. And they've introduced a new app update. I did a video about this separately to show how it works, which is on the Zulf photography channel. But this is basically an app you can get. They've updated it, and it lets you transfer via Bluetooth from your camera to your phone, so you can do the adjustments, because I know some of the guys like to do Lightroom and adjusting on their mobile phones. So that's something to keep an eye on. And recently there's been quite a few of these types of things where Fujifilm have also made a version where you can use your DSLR camera as a webcam, following suit from Canon, because they obviously released that tool in the time of need where people wanted to do zoom and they couldn't get webcams. You could turn your DSLR into a webcam. So that was interesting. My final article is something close to my heart. Can a 6-year-old DSLR camera keep up with modern cameras? So I like this article from Jason here. Now, f-stoppers always do interesting photography articles, so keep an eye on them. I shoot with a Canon 550D T2i camera, which is what you're seeing me on now. I'm using it as a webcam, and that's an old camera. You're looking at 11 or 12 years old. Don't let your gear stop you. And in the grand scheme of things for photography, a DSLR camera, if you know what you're doing with it, you'll get great shots. But I like to see his kind of comparison there where he shows the features and how they work out the quality. But in summary, overall, a newer camera might speed up the shooting process and objectively deliver better quality images, but I'm not convinced that most of us need the newest camera. Thank you, Jason. That was a little slurp from his summary, but make sure to check out the article for the full thing. So that was your photo news today. I think it might be time 2.
Greetings, my children. It is I, the mystical Erraddic, coming forth to bring you messages from the beyond. I am getting messages, yes, about the future. Something about mobile photography. Will it be a success? Why, yes, I think it will. But the thing is, just like anything else in this art, it requires much more than just talent. It requires hard work, patience, and diligence. That is all, my children. Leave me now. Shoo, be on, be on.
Okay, that was our Mystic Erraddic, and he gave us a look into the future. Interesting concept about mobile photography, because you will know if you've been following my episodes. I have a Zulf Talks Photography podcast which talks about how to get into photography, and mobile phones are the future. You've seen the Samsung new phone there that was really good in performing for photography, so that is what you want to be on. Have a look at that and make sure to check it out. So what we're going to be doing today as part of this is looking at the update from EditMyRaw. So we have a close link with EditMyRaw whereby I post my questions to you. I ask you for support in editing my EditMyRaw photos, and you basically supply me with edits. I give you the photo and allow you to work your magic. We always have some great guys working their magic, and let's have a quick look and see how we are doing here. So that looks good. Okay. Yes, so interestingly enough, EditMyRaw, there's also a news element here because they do a weekly raw editing challenge, which is really good. I keep a close eye on it because there's quite a few good photographers that supply images, and then the editing side of it where people go in and edit the photos to see, wait a minute, a photo that wasn't very great turned out to be really good when this guy edited it for us. So I like that community build there, and we're working on ways to make the EditMyRaw, my segment anyway, a bit more interesting, and just watch this space. Basically there's something coming, I'm hoping. I've been speaking to the mods, and well, the mod, and we're working on something, but that's in the pipeline. Anyway, official weekly raw editing challenge. So this is how it looks like. Every week we post a new raw file for you to edit. The moderators will provide a link to the file in the comment section. After you have downloaded the file and made your edits you wish to, you post a link to your final edit in this thread, so other users can upvote their favorite edits. The winner is a user with most upvotes by the end of the week. If you're not familiar with Reddit, it's basically a community. I've been using it for maybe 6 or 7 months now, but I've been surprised because it's not like a normal community. There's more people there that are willing to help you. There are people there that they're more interested in kind of giving back in a way. So if someone's done really well, they're helping other people struggling to get up there. So I'm on for the same reason. I'm not the biggest YouTuber on there, but based on new YouTubers starting on there and other people doing their thing, I try and offer help and support and answer questions basically from my point of view. So in this example, the last winner was Zach Omara. So well done, congratulations, you won that. And the photo was supplied by DJM Photography UK. So it's interesting, he's in the UK as well. I am in the UK. But yes, so I'm keeping a close eye on this. I might make this more of a regular feature. Let me know in the comments if it's something that you think would be interesting to keep an eye on, because we can follow who the regular winners are, how they're doing, and see the types of photos that do really well. So here is what Zacomo edited. So if I open that quickly, because I remember saying this, it was like a bridge edit. So I have an edit. I have quite a few images that I might share to kind of get your point of view on. So you'll see here, people would have upvoted the photo. I can see the nice light trails, white versus red, so cars coming towards you and the brake lights of cars going away from you. Nice. Well, yes, I like I'm trying to figure out where it is. But yeah, the photo was supplied by DJM Photography UK. So he is an amateur photographer, but great photos on his Instagram channel. So a quick shout out to him and taking part in the community. So well done. And what we'll do now, I think, is we will look at the Edit My Raw session, which is the main thing everybody's interested in. So I put out a post. Let me bring it up. Here we go. And let me just make sure I can show you everything. So if I do old to new. Okay, so we have some regular contributors, and it's great to get the edits and always see their work because they do surprise me. So let me bring up this now. So you can see here, Edit My Raw. This is 2 portraits of a car, and we're going to do a live session. So I supplied, let me show you the pictures. Some of the images from a fashion show, because I heard you guys like to do fashion edits. So I thought I'll supply you with some options to show me what you can do. So that's one image. There's no editing done at all on that. That's raw out of the camera. Then I gave you another image, which was more of a funky shot, like a bit of a low angle shot. And I gave you a car because you wanted something a bit different. So I try and accommodate. Sometimes I do scenery photos that I have, but I'm not a great scenic photographer or landscape photographer. But that's the raw files I supplied to you. We had some submissions, so thank you very much for your submissions. And I was hoping to be able to speak to you about the edits and see how well you have done. So let's have a quick look at this. And yes, that's fine. So Johannes, Verne always supplies some good edits. I have his edit here. Let me open that up and have a quick sneak peek at see what he's done for us today. So here we go. Interesting. Let me bring up the original. And oh, see, he's got a bit of, he's quite good with liquify. In the past photos he's done really well. Okay, there I can see he's adjusted that color, because with the fashion models what normally happens is their clothes they're like not fitted as well because they're basically just modeling them. So he's kind of adjusted that, made that a bit nicer. He's adjusted the coloring on it. The lighting has been improved. The hair's been bushed out a bit, which makes a big difference. The eye color has been brought out. I'm hoping he can, yeah, because normally I can speak with you and kind of get an update, but I'm hoping at some point on the replay when you're watching this back, because I know people are busy, maybe a funny time. I'm still testing my times to make sure there's a good time where everybody's available. But this edit, yeah, he does us proud every time, I think. Okay, now, yes, the highlights have been brought out, the back's been brought out, so it's interesting. Hello, that's okay. We have, good timing actually. What do you reckon if I was to speak to you, Johannes? Because I'm looking at your photo. Are you available on Skype? If I give you a call, we can have a quick look at this. I'll get my headphones on and we will have a guest on today, hopefully, fingers crossed, and we'll see how it works. If I put you on a quick hold screen. Hello mate, you okay? Yes, I can. Let me see if I can bring you up on the, have you got a webcam as well? Wicked, excellent. Okay, let me see if I can get you onto my yes, so we have Johannes with us today, and I'm just going to check that you can see him, which you can. Okay, here we go. So if I bring you here. Hello Johannes, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Great to have you on. Thanks for joining us. It's nice to be able to speak to you now. Are you getting me okay? Any delays? You okay there? You can hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I was getting a little bit of lag.
Ah, okay. I think that's something we're going to have to work with, but we'll do another test. But I think while you're here, my first question is, how do I say it? Is it Johannes?
Johannes.
Johannes. I'm so sorry. I've been getting it wrong on all the streams, calling you Johannes. Johannes. Now I know. But I think I need to get that right because you've been doing some great edits for us. So if I bring you over to your edit, so what we're basically looking at now is the photo that you edited for us. You're very good on your liquify tool, I think. Is that the right tool you use?
Yes, that's definitely one of the ones I use on a lot of these, is the liquify. For this one, I kept it fairly simple.
Mm-hmm.
It was mostly just using that liquify to kind of touch up the collar.
Yes. Okay, so if I do this, you should be able to see the difference there. So you did some bushing out on her hair. I can see the buns a bit more fluffed out, and you brought some detail out in the eyes. So what are you using? Are you using Lightroom?
Initially for the edits, I'm using Capture One,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there I'll take it into Photoshop.
Okay.
So the initial color adjustments are just in Capture One, basically similar to Lightroom. It's just I prefer Capture One. I've been using it longer, and then I'll take it into Photoshop. So for this one, I used the liquify to touch up the collar, and then after that, I did some frequency separation to help smooth out the skin and adjust the makeup a little bit.
Okay.
And I actually used that. I gave her some eyeshadow a little bit as well.
Yes.
Using that.
So if I zoom in, we can see that there, where that slight gloss is. I'm hoping I've screen shared, so you might see this without the lag now on Skype. Is that coming through to you?
Yes.
Okay, so what I have is on the eyes, you've done some extra work. So do you have a workflow that you tend to work through? So for example, if I was to give you an image, is there a certain step that you go through, or do you look at the image and decide which route you take for the edit?
With just about every image, I'm going to take it into Capture One first. And with that, I'm essentially doing the basic color adjustments if there's any exposure work that needs done, white balance. I can do a little bit of skin retouching in Capture One. They actually recently updated it and it works a lot better now, but it's still not quite as much if you can get in Photoshop. So I'll do some of the basics there, and then I'll take it from there if I think it needs more work into Photoshop, where I can do some more of the advanced features like the liquify, frequency separation, and I use a lot of gradient maps for recoloring.
That's interesting. So working on that, if you're using Capture One, have you been using that for a long time? Is it something you prefer with Capture One as opposed to Lightroom, or is that just because it's part of your workflow?
Mostly it's part of my workflow, and so I've gotten to like it better. They do form pretty much the same functions. It's just the layout's a little bit different, and so I've built my workflow around Capture One.
Okay. Now it's really interesting to see that, but I like the little edits you do, especially with the Disney princess type look that we had before on the previous sessions that we've done. So thank you very much for that. It's really interesting to get your point of view. I'm hoping to keep you on because we have some more edits, and it'll be good to get your views on them. Because sometimes I look at a picture, I can see my original, and most of the time they're quite dull because they're just taken straight out of the camera, so there's not been any processing done. When I get different pictures come back, it's really good to see how people have perceived it in different ways and given us more detail. So some pictures, for example, with yourself, you do a bit of liquify, you do adjustments, whereas other people go the opposite way and they'll kind of crop it in or do something a bit different. But I think having you on board to be able to give me that insight, because I think you're you're definitely better at editing than I am, because I'm not a big editor. I think I could easily take multiple photos and what I like to do is give enough space for the editors to work their magic, because what happens most of the time is when we do the pictures, they have their own magazine publishers who do the editing, and they have their own similar, like you mentioned, they have color profiles that they like to make each image look a certain way for their printing and color profiling and things. But I think because you've got that insight there, we can have, well, make use of you a bit more, which should be good. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so you were the first one I've got up. I have a few more here. I think it was a smaller session. I might pick a better day, I think, because Sundays I thought most people would be able to give us some submissions, but everybody's got, I think, busy work schedules, so we had a few today, but we had loads last time, so I might put it back to a Wednesday, which was really good the last time. But I'll bring that up now. So if I show you another entry, if I bring up the... Okay, so Paja, he submitted some to us before, and he's gone for a retro feel. So if I show you the image Paja's put in, I supplied a car image this time just to give everybody a chance to be able to edit. And this is the edit, and he's gone retro. If I show you the original, so we can do a comparison. Okay, that's the original image of the car. And with this image, when I was taking it, I was actually doing a motorcycle shoot for MI Bandit, so it's loads of motorcycles going past and we were basically pan zooming with them, but a car randomly came and I took the shot. It's not the best. I caught it slightly but not fully. Ideally it would have been fully sharp and the background would have been blurred. But the edit, if I bring up the edit back, there's the edit. So that's the edit, and that's the original. What do you think? I can see he's brought out some detail in the car, and he's made it a bit straight. I like it. It gives me the Italian Job feel. Have you seen the Italian Job film? For the minis.
Yeah, it's been a while. I have seen that one though.
Yeah, it gives me that feel of that kind of look where the vintage shot it on old cameras and it's got a bit of like noise in it, so I like it. It's giving me that feel. Sometimes I think it doesn't have to be fully smooth. If you give it a bit of grain, it actually adds a bit because it gives you a different feel to it. I don't know, maybe, what do you think? Is there something you think that I missed there, or?
Well, first of all, I definitely think that's a tough type of shot to get to begin with. So as well as you did with that, that's pretty impressive. And then with the edit, I really like the way that the colors are popping without it becoming something completely oversaturated. I'm not sure if it was maybe some split toning or something used, but where the greens and the reds are popping without the background just becoming oversaturated, the roads not oversaturated. And it really does make it look a lot like a shot taken on film, even before you think about the grain that was edited. I think that's really nice. Yeah,
actually, you're right. See, that's something I wouldn't have noticed. So sometimes when you're editing, if you bring out a certain color in the foreground subject, the background, it ends up getting oversaturated. So it's good that you mentioned that, because I can see the grass in the back's okay and the car's green as well. So it's interesting how, see, stuff like that I wouldn't have noticed until you said it. So it's good that we can discuss that. And also with this, are you familiar with polarizing filters? Because I think if I had a polarizing filter, I could have not got that glare on the windscreen and I'd actually seen the guy driving the car. That would have been even probably better, but that's hindsight now. Yes, okay, so Paja, thank you very much for that edit. That was a good edit. What I will do is, I think Paja wasn't able to make it to the live session, but when we watch this on replay, let us know in the comments how close we were, but we're happy with your shot. Thank you for that edit, it's really interesting. Now, if I bring you on to the next one, which we have from Rajkins. Rajkins is one of our older he started with us from the start of the series, so it's always good to get him putting submissions in, and he does some interesting edits. The last edit he did is my background, so if you see my monitors behind me, I put it up. It was an image that I took in Pakistan. It was water. I think this is how many years ago, 6-7 years ago, I did a shoot there for some politicians and stuff during my old job, and it was really interesting that I was able to take some scenic shots, but they were just random shots with a kit lens, so it wasn't anything fancy, but it was flat, and he managed to get some detail out in the background and the foreground, and I thought, you know what, pay homage to him. I'll put it on my desktop for him. And what also does happen is edits that we really like, we end up putting on the thumbnail for the next session. So you'll see in the previous sessions, we've had Jonas's one on there, we've had a few of the Beanies ones on there. So it's really good that hopefully we can give some recognition to you guys to say, actually, this was edited by. In the top corner, we put a little comment. And I'm also working on a way to offer some type of reward to the best edit. So I'm talking with the mod on EditMyRaw. So I'm hoping that we can make a bit more like repay kind of in a way to the people spending their time editing the photos. So that might be interesting to keep an eye on future sessions coming up. Okay, now if I bring you on to the next image, which is from Raj. So Raj, oh, okay, the Raj has edited this image. This is one image that I took from maybe 6 images, and it was printed in the Asiana magazine, part of the set of like multiple shots, and they put it on newspapers. But because it was so long ago, I was able to share it with you now. So that's one of the photos which he edited, and if I show you the original, we can see the differences on this one. And I'm lucky enough, I think he's put some explanation on his post. So if I go to his post, we can actually give a little overview of the edit he has done. And Raj, if you're in chat, let us know and we can look. And okay, here we go. So the original photo was pretty washed out and lacked popping colors. So that's what I wanted to do for my edit. Simple exposure balance, tone curves, and HSL. HSL, Johannes, what does it mean by that? I'm not familiar with that. Is that an edit?
Highlight, saturation, and luminescence. It's basically balancing how bright everything is. There's a couple different sliders with that.
Oh, okay. So similar to white balance, but actually separate for each different. Okay, I think I remember seeing that in Lightroom where it's got 3 or 4 different scroll bars. Okay, yeah, I think some of these things I might have used in the past, but I don't know them by their proper names. So it's always a learning experience, I think. So it's good to hear that. Okay, so got the pop and colors as seen on the final edit. The face looked a little noisy, so I fixed that by a radial filter using sharpening and noise reduction. Finally gave the pic a slight yellow-orange gradient. That's how I got the final edit. So yes, Raj, thank you for that explanation. Let's have a quick look at the difference, Raj versus original. Okay, so I can see that the color difference that is done there, that slight pink color of her dress has become more red. So I'm assuming that is a bit of a red tinge he's added on there. Let's have a closer look at the face, because I know he mentioned about noise. Okay, yeah, he's managed to get some detail in the eyes. Let me just see if that was already there. Wrong one. Okay, so let's zoom into that one. Yeah, I see what he means by being dull. But I think that slight red tinge has maybe given her face a bit too much color. I don't know if, but it does look nice. It looks like a sunny type picture. What do you think, Johannes?
I know he did a really good job, because with that hue, saturation, luminescence, it can be really tough to get the right colors dialed in. But it seems like he did a pretty good job of it. He managed to get the dress being more red without completely overblowing the red in her face. I think the one thing I would have liked to have seen more is if he could have gotten the eyes even brighter.
Yes.
And it's tough to do when the eyes are already shadowed. That may have been something. I didn't take this photo. I saw the other one. I was like, I'm going to go the easy route this week.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I do think he managed to do a really good job. And he said he used the radial filter. I can't even see where the borders of that filter are, so nothing's overdone there. Definitely feathered out nice. I think he did a really good job with that.
Yeah, it's come out. It looks natural, which is the good thing. So that's interesting. What I might give next time is I might give an actual portrait with better light, because I can see on my edit there's not much there in the eyes to go with. It's very. So I was surprised he was able to get what he did, to be honest. Because if you notice, the whites of the eyes have become actually whiter there, so you can see the difference between the pupils. So yeah, interesting shot. So Johannes, is there certain pictures you prefer to edit over other ones? Are there?
I really don't have too much of a preference. I enjoy doing the portraits. It's not something I do as often, but again, I really don't have too much of a preference.
And while we've got you on, it'd be interesting to get a bit about your background and how you came into editing. Is this your full-time thing? I know you have a podcast as well, because I looked at that. Is that something you also do, or tell us a bit about yourself?
Photo editing is not my full-time thing. It is a part-time job for me, photography in general, and I've just always done all my own editing. I've been doing it as kind of a side business for, I guess it hasn't even been a full year, but I've been doing photography on my own for 7 or 8 years now, so it has been a while.
Okay.
It's just been recently that I've really been getting a lot more into it, trying to make it a profession.
Okay. And where do you see yourself? Are you planning to get more into this, or where do you like to go with it? Because it'd be interesting to get views now, because I think on Reddit, quite a few people are on there to kind of share and learn and find the right path. But what would you ideally like to be doing? It'd be interesting to know, because some of the people that watch the show are more newer. So it'd be good to see a path of how they can get to maybe a full-time career, or more interested into a topic they like. So for example, editing or photo manipulation, even photography.
As far as getting into the photography goes, building that up as a business, really it just takes time being able to get your name out there. You kind of have to start small. Just being able to get a few shoots, and then a lot of times it spreads by word of mouth. Yeah. And eventually you just keep building up. You improve your skills, you get better, and then of course word of mouth is going to spread more. More people are going to see your work, and eventually it builds up, and you can really work your way into whatever niche you want to do. For me, I enjoyed taking some of the portraits, but a lot of what I really like doing is landscape photography, which I haven't been able to do as much of the past few months. With everything going on, a lot of the parks around me have been closed, so I've been a little stuck with that. So
yeah, that's interesting actually. So it's been some recent developments which kind of led me to look at making this live show, to at least be able to speak to people that can't maybe get out, and at least give some type of raw photos that we could at least keep us going, basically, to keep the talent going, because there's loads of people that are editing photos and they're providing their photos and explaining what they've done and giving the opportunity for learning. Is there anything else you think that we could include in this that would be interesting, like another segment or something that would get the guys more involved? Because I think we're working on a few ideas, but I want to be able to get feedback from people that see it from the other side, as it were, because I might be seeing it my way, but obviously if you're a viewer it might look different to you. Have you got any ideas of maybe other segments or things that would be good to add in the show?
Not off the top of my head. I do like the photography news section.
Okay.
I actually wind up getting most of my news on photography from Reddit, just while I'm browsing through there. I've got a couple of the photography subreddits in my feed.
Okay.
And so that's where I wind up seeing a lot of it. So it's nice to kind of have that presented a little more.
Okay, that's a good idea actually, yeah. Because I've been looking at some of the f-stopper articles, but I've seen on Ask Reddit and the Canon and camera Reddits, they have a little section where you get the latest news. So you're right, that might be a good thing in the future, and maybe we'll get we'll get you on a bit earlier, so when we do the news bit we can actually maybe talk about some of the articles, because you'll know more than some of the articles, maybe I'll know bits about it, so get more of a conversation going. It's always good to see that side of the actual news, because they don't always get it right. They give you some articles which are like, okay, maybe you should see it from this side as well, so you get both sides of the picture. But yeah, I think what we'll do is that's been a good session today. Thank you, Johannes, for coming on and speaking to me. It's been great being able to speak to you, and I'm hoping we'll do a lot more of these in future. What's the best way for the guys to get in contact with you if they were to follow you, or is there a certain profile you'd like to share so I can put that in the description?
I don't really have much of anything other than I've got my profile on Reddit that I post stuff around with, so I don't really have anything else going on right now.
That's okay. We'll keep a close eye on you, and hopefully we'll develop something in future. It's been a great session today, and we'd like to thank you for watching the session today, the photography live show, and we have some show notes in the description with further information about some of the news articles we covered and a look into the links that we supplied. If you have any comments, make sure to comment below. When you watch this in replay, it'll be great to get your feedback if you weren't able to make it to the live show, and I'll link it to a playlist of the other live show options we had, and we'll see you on the next one.